a monster, and I'll just at least show you how to maybe attempt an extra credit. So, right, what was it for homework and extra credits? I had these guidelines if you can do a spreadsheet. I got rid of MathCAD because I don't have that license. Okay, so spreadsheet, 1 point, no tutorial there. I'm going to imagine you know how to work Excel pretty well as a junior engineering school, so I'm kind of interested to see how you would do that, and then I can get feedback that way. You might have not heard of a Mathematica notebook or a Jupyter notebook before, so I'll at least offer to get you started with there. So I would think, right, here's how to start. Click the link. And click the link, it'll bring you here. Oh, I was signed in, so how about I sign out, right? Give you more real experience. Okay, signing out, Wolf or not. Sign out. Okay, so it's signed out. So click here again. Okay, so this is where it would take you, the link. So you would sign up for a free basic account to start attempting this style of homework. I have one. It's free. So smaller. Boom. God, I hope you remember my password. Yes, it does. Cool. So what do you have here? You get to here, right? So to do a homework, you would start a new notebook. It's imagine this is like literal paper you're writing your math on. It's blank. Good. So I think always a good thing is you write for name your file. So for us, we have the last name, your last name, then the homework you're working on, right? You then submit that to the correct Google Sheet, and then it will take track of it there. So let's say I'm deep in the term, I'm doing the 7th one. Okay, so this is molar-HW7, all lowercase. So here's my homework. You can do a lot of cool things in Mathematica. I will show you 3 to get off the ground to maybe start doing it. First, you can make a title. How do you make a title? There's a lot of hotkeys, so you can do like Alt-7, or you can just kind of point and click. I recommend trying to get away from your mouse. I'm struggling with that. Let's get to it, right? So the thing you can do first is there's styles of text, there's plain text. You could do it all plain text, but why do that? You want things to look pretty, so what kind do they have? Okay, title. Let's make a title. My awesome, perfect homework. Okay, now this is a cell. See this right here? This thing right here says that it's some sort of cell. Notebooks are all about cells. Each kind of concept, idea, code, whatever, is its own individual cell. So what I cannot do is I can't like go below this and make other text. I can't make this style of text, right? The whole cell is just going to be a title, right? So, right? So here's sort of the one drawback, or just something you get used to, right? So for a different cell, let's say I want to put my name by Sam Molar. Okay, so here's another cell. Oh, cool. So there's a little formatting thing here, and that lets you format, other ways. So I could just make this, let's say, regular text. So now it's text. It's not code at all. Okay, so that's sort of text, and then below this again, you could even have another one. Cell style. So you can just keep this up maybe when you're making your descriptors, right? So you say the problem is to calculate the Reynolds number given, capitalize that, some values. You can actually even type things in here. But you can just write, so you can kind of keep it like that, and you can just kind of change the formatting around. You could have it like be really big. Yeah, I'll just kind of keep this as text. Give them some values. Down arrow again. Okay, so now it's actually like, put some actual like computational code, let's say, in Mathematica. So you could just say R equals, Reynolds? Remembers Reynolds? So you could say Reynolds equals a bunch of things. Let's just say you had them. Okay, how about Greek letters? So for Greek letters, you press the escape button, and then you type the Greek letter. Rho. Remembers row? You could also do it with this backslash. See how there's like a backslash thing right here? You could just literally type that as well. I just like to hit escape, type my Greek letter, and then exit escape. Boom, got a Greek letter. And that allows you to like match identically what you're trying to write on maybe on paper and then letting Wolfram do calculating for you. Okay, biggest errors that you'll have is hand calculation. So if all you have to do is the actual calculation, you might as well just have Mathematica do the symbolic calculations for you. But just like a calculator, you could have it be like, 1,000. How do you do a comment in here? Because this is actual code that will run. Well, you do this, and then a comment. So it's parentheses and then that star. So how about you put the units in here, right? So boom, M. Okay, so that's sort of maybe a reminder of the units that you have. There is a deep rabbit hole you can go down to in Mathematica, by the way. We can have quantity. Okay, so with quantity, this is, again, deep rabbit hole we're going down. This is, right, you can actually have Mathematica understand that you have units going on. And it's just, right, you could even become an expert at that. I'm actually still learning that myself, but that might take me a year. Okay, how about this? Escape, mu, boom. Let's go, let's do 5. 10 meters. And then have a velocity of 3 meters per second. Those are all common, right? You can run the cell, and all it did is just define, right? It's just bound, like if I ever type row, it's really just talking about 1,000, etc. Kind of like what you're used to before if you're doing something like that. If you don't want the output all the time, you can just put the semicolon like you've done before. And what does it do? Well, now I run it again, no output. It doesn't kind of, when I run that cell, essentially I don't litter the notebook with like, right, pretty redundant statements. So there's 2 ways you could do, right, maybe calculate a Reynolds number. So we'll start a new cell. I could have Reynolds equals row U L. Okay. Oh look, it even does it as a fraction, right? So that's just sort of, I took a bunch of variables, I just calculated them together. It's not really extendable though. So kind of what you more want to do is actually have like a function. So it already has an RE, so maybe that means we won't be able to redefine what that is. Oh, so they use RE for the real complex numbers. So I can't make a function that's RE, okay? So how about I say REY? Nothing there, so how about REY for Reynolds? So to define functions in Mathematica, you use square brackets, and then you use this thing, okay? And just write the exact same thing. Okay, so same thing there, and then all the parameters need to go involved here. So we write row, only difference is then I do the under dash. And that's kind of telling me, because see how I've written that down there? The under dash kind of says that this is a free variable, so I'm not actually referring to the row that I defined up here. This is like, I could have just put X, I could have just put Y. It kind of just means positional. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so now I have a function, and now, right, now I can just kind of put any sort of old numbers in here as well, right? Only difference being kind of just a basic function, right? And it just spits out a Reynolds number each time. And notice I can actually put in these ones I defined previously, right? U, and then it would do the same thing. Right. So see, I can run the same thing with the variables I defined before. This is just, right, a nice pure mathematical function. Perfect. So maybe the next thing you can maybe do is like plotting. So how would I plot? This is what I really want to get across is I've given you stupid basics that won't help you do anything, but importantly, there's a search bar right here. So really, if you have any questions on how to do something in Mathematica Notebook, they've made great documentation and notes for you to search on how to do it. This is how I learned how to use a Mathematica Notebook. You just kind of keep searching this thing, and then you'll find an example. You can copy the example in there and just replace the input arguments. So let's say I want to plot the Reynolds number for, maybe Reynolds number, so no Reynolds number. How about just a regular function? So let's, same kind of thing. I've made a function now. X squared, plot, square bracket. What do I do? So just the function and then the domain. Okay, so just boom, boom. X is going to go from, how about -10 to 10. Boom, this should run. Good. Plotting function sounds great, right? And I can just now I can just change this function up here, and it changes right there. So now I can just have this thing, and I can just change this above, and now the function will be different. There's not a lot of right. There's no plotting axes, etc. in here, and that is just what this is going to be all about. So again, you can make the actual data and plot it and have axes. But when it comes to the formatting, like giving it a title, etc., like that, that is right. That's Mathematica. I think is really awful at this, and I don't. I spend more time trying to get like a label on it correctly than actually plotting it these days for myself. So it is frustrating, but you know, search plot label, search axis label. They're all here, and then you can just kind of learn how to format this data correctly. But in reality, I mean, this is just the basics of it, right? You have plot, you put your function. I like to do it this way because then I can just edit the cell above it, and then the same plot function works. And they have little things down here as well. You can change the background, add fill. So when it comes to plotting, there's actually a lot of options, but in general, you'll spend a lot of time on the help bars here. So that's up and running. You can do text, you can define variables, you can write a function, kind of imagine it like you are writing a mathematical function. Just think of it just like you're writing math, only this thing's doing the actual calculations for you. It's very important you think of Mathematica notebooks exactly like that. They're, you know, kind of a programming environment, but I think they're far more powerful if you just think of them as like you write your math on paper and then go to here, transcribe it, and it does all the calculations for you. I mean, you can even do like symbolic calculations, right? So I could just do integral, can integrate, right? I could just do this, minus log x, right? So here's a function, right? How fast do you think you could have done that integral by yourself? However fast you can do it, this is going to do it faster, and it will be correct every single time. So I would think you should use the tools you have. I'm not like this. I'm not like the old librarian telling you not to use a calculator back in the 50s because you're going to forget how to do these things. I like to use the tools that are given to me to do better, faster, more accurate work. So that's why I like Mathematica. So hope that's a nice up and running way to how you would do this. And if you want to do that for extra credit, it's pretty fun, and you learn a new tool. You will rip hair out over that plot function, though. Sorry.